Good morning, friends. Today we have a very intricate project to get into, and the letter of the day is the letter K. Today you're going to need a lot of different materials, so please make sure you're paying attention to this step. It is very important that you have almost all of them. The first one you need is your white piece of paper. You're also going to need some small pieces of colorful construction paper, any color, that's your choice. You're going to need something to write with. You're going to need a pair of scissors. You're going to need some yarn. You're going to need a glue stick. You're going to need some little rubber bands. You're going to need a couple paintbrushes, some cups of food color and water, and you're going to need a paper towel. Now this is a lot of steps. So the first step is we're going to take our white paper and we're going to put it to the side because we don't need that until a bit later. Next, you're going to take your paper towel. Now this is the tricky part of this project. Everything after this is pretty simple. You're going to take a rectangle sheet of paper towel like so. We're going to fold it in half, just like we would with our pieces of paper. Now you're going to fold it corner to corner, all the way into the corner, and fold, like that. And now we're going to fold it one more time, hold it this way, this corner to the middle, and we're going to fold it down. So you should end up with a small triangle shape, like so. And you're going to press that together. Now we are going to roll this from this corner in, much like you would like a taco or a burrito. You're going to burrito wrap it nice and tight. Actually, if I do this the right way. Nope, I was incorrect. We're going to start at the top and roll down to the bottom. Okay, just like so. Now you're going to take your rubber bands and we are going to wrap the top little piece like that, and then we're going to do another one down here at the bottom. Mom and Dad, you're probably absolutely going to have to do this step for them. It is very tricky to try and get it right. It might take a couple of tries before you do get it right. I'm hoping that this one turns out the way that I'm thinking it's going to. I haven't tested folding it this way before, but it seemed pretty easy when I was watching someone else do it. Okay, so just like so. Next, you're going to need your food color and water, and you're going to need one paintbrush for each color. So first I'm going to do green, and I am going to gently tap the top piece only up to the rubber band, and I'm not even going to go all the way to the rubber band. I'm going to keep it a little further back. As you can see, it's going to start bleeding into that rubber band anyways, so I am going to leave it further back and not touch it any more than that. Next, I'm going to do yellow for mine. You can do whichever colors you would like to do at home. It is completely up to you. It is your project, your design. Whatever food color you have will work. I did 7 drops of food color to about 2 or 3 drops of water, but it's up to you how you plan on doing it. You can do more food color than water, or you can do more water than food color, depending on how vibrant you want that color. So there's my first two. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the last one, and I'm going to do the color blue. Again, I'm just tapping. I'm not sticking it directly into the water because then the whole paper towel is going to turn into that blue color, and that's way too much. I don't need that much. Also, make sure you do the very, very end a little bit. You don't have to super soak it, like I said. Just tap it so that there's some color on it. As you can see, the green is already bleeding into the yellow, and some of the yellow has started bleeding into the blue. That's okay. You don't want it to bleed too much though, because like I said, as the paper towel soaks up the water, it's going to keep doing that bleeding effect. So a little bit goes a long way. So I'm going to let this sit and dry for a few minutes. So I'm going to leave it like this and set it to the side. Next, I'm going to take my pieces of construction paper here, and I'm going to stack them all together, nice and even. I'm going to fold them in half. Crease it, just like I always do. And I'm going to keep it like so. Now I'm going to take my writing utensil, and we are going to draw a trapezoid in the middle, just like so. I held my paper this way. Make sure it's the creased side. You absolutely want to make sure it's this side, not the open book side. You're going to draw two lines like the letter A, but not touching together. And then you're going to connect them down at the bottom like so. Okay, so now that we're done with that, I am going to keep this closed nice and tight, and I'm going to cut on that line there. Remember, thumb goes in the small hole, fingers go in the big hole, thumb on the top. Make sure your thumb is on the top. Okay, so I cut one. Now I'm going to cut across, folding all of those pieces of paper together nice and tight. And now I'm going to go down the other line. Okay, and all of this extra paper here is now scrap. I'm going to put that to the side. So when you open it, you should have 3, 4, however many pieces of paper. You should have little bow shapes, and that's going to be important for the tail end of our kite. So make sure you hold on to these. Keep them all together if you have to. I'm actually going to trim mine a little bit. I think they're a little bit too big for how mine's going to turn out. So trim a little excess off of those. And I'm going to set those to the side. Next, I'm going to need my piece of paper back. So I'm going to put that in front of me. And I'm going to take my paper towel and carefully take those rubber bands off without disturbing the paint that I had already done. Very carefully. Okay, now I'm going to unroll and unravel. Finding all of the ends, just like so. And there I have my kite shape. Now you'll find that if you open it again, you'll actually have 2 squares. Now you can either keep these folded, or you can cut them apart down that center line right in the middle, and you only need one of them. So I am going to cut mine very carefully down the middle so that I only have one of them. And I'm going to pick the one that I want to choose. I think I'm going to go with this one. It's a little bit nicer than how this one turned out. So this gives you two options to choose for your kite shape. This one I'm going to put to the side because I don't need that one. If it helps, you may need some liquid glue for this part. I'm not totally sure if the glue stick is going to hold the wet paper onto your white paper. So I am going to use my liquid glue instead. And I am going to put 4 dots in each corner of the paper towel. As you can see, I did some pretty big white dots. So now I'm actually going to do 3 corners instead of 4. I am going to very carefully place this on my paper where I would like my kite shape to go. It's okay if it comes off the paper a little bit. This part is the trickiest and it is the messiest, mostly because that paper towel is still very flimsy and it's still wet. So you need to be very careful when gluing this on. Now I got a lot of glue all over my paper, so I'm going to move that to underneath the paper towel. And gently press. And I'm going to leave it there so that it can dry. I'm not going to try to move it again. Messy fingers, and that's okay. Make sure you have baby wipes with you. I should have learned from my previous videos that I absolutely need baby wipes. I don't know why I didn't think of that this time. But now I have super messy hands, and my project's probably going to be a lot messier than I want it to be. So I have now glued my kite up in the corner. I've got lots of glue coming off my paper here. Make sure that comes off so that it doesn't stick to my table. I don't want it to stick to the table. Next we are going to do the yarn. So you're going to need a pretty long piece. I would say about 12 inches to a foot, because it's going to go from the top and then it's going to trail down the bottom of the paper. So you want it to be pretty long, but you don't want it to be too long. Next I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use the liquid glue and I'm going to do one nice long straight line through the middle of my kite, just like so. I did not use a ton, I only used a little bit, just enough so that I can get my yarn to stick to the paper towel. Again, I used the liquid glue because I don't think using the glue stick is going to work with this, even though it is paper on paper. A lot of it depends on how wet your paper towel is. If you plan on letting it dry, I suggest doing so, and save yourself the hassle of having to use all of these different things at one time. So now I have part of my kite glued down. Now I'm going to take this string and I'm going to go across the paper like so. Again, I am also going to be using the liquid glue. And I'm going to draw the line out that I want. And then I'm going to gently place my yarn on top of that glue strip that I did. And some of the yarn is coming off the paper, and that is totally okay. If you don't like it hanging off the paper, once it's all dry, you can cut it off and call it a day. That's up to you. I don't mind having mine off the paper, so I'm just going to leave mine there. Okay, just like so. I have my kite going from one side of the paper to the other side of the paper. So then what's next? Next would be your little bows that we created. So you're going to need these, and you're going to need your glue stick. Not the liquid glue, use your glue stick. You're going to take one of your bows, and you are going to put glue stick glue on each side, each little triangle. Mine's nice and purple so you can see what I'm talking about. Just like so. Now I'm going to find a place, and I'm going to stick it over top of that piece of yarn. And press it down nice and firm. And it should look like so. Now I have room for a couple more, so I'm going to go and do an orange one next. My fingers are getting very sticky, so I need to be careful with my paper because I don't want to rip any of my papers. See, I put my glue on it. Now I'm going to go ahead and find a spot on my kite and press it over top of that string, just like so. And it's like a kite blowing in the wind. Okay, I do have one more, however I don't think I have the room for it. I probably could have placed these a little bit different. I could have put one all the way underneath directly and then had room for all of them, but I did not, and now it is stuck on there really good. So I'm just going to leave it as is. You're going to go back with your string, and we are going to do another piece of string from one side to the other side, going across your kite. I apologize, I missed this step when we were doing the yarn the first time. So make sure you have a pretty big piece. You can always cut the extra off if it's hanging off of your kite, but you cannot make it bigger if you made it too small. So I'm going to go back with my liquid glue, and I'm going to draw a faint line with the glue from one side of my kite to the other side of my kite. And now I'm going to take one end, place it on the far end of the kite, pull it nice and straight, and then press it into the glue, like so. You're going to find it and press it gently into the glue. Again, as you can see, I have some hanging off, so I'm going to take my scissors and very carefully cut the rest of it off that I don't need. Just like so. Now up in the upper corner is where we're going to draw our letter K. You're going to draw one straight line down, like so. Now starting in the middle, we are going to do two diagonal lines, one straight up to the top, now the other one is going to come from the middle and go straight down. Just like so. And there you have it. You have your wonderful, beautiful tie-dye kite, which begins with the letter K. Thank you guys for watching. I know this one was a super long video. There's so many steps to this project. This is more so geared towards my bigger kids that haven't been able to do some mixed media type art projects. So this one I really want them to try. My little friends, if you don't want to do this one and you just want to draw me a kite, I'm okay with that too. It's completely up to you guys. Again, I apologize for this one being so long. There's so many steps. It's very involved. But I hope they turned out great, and I hope you had a lot of fun. Thanks for watching, guys, and join me in my next video. Bye!